I'm joined by His Excellency Bharrat Jagdeo, President of the GGGI Assembly and former President of Guyana, to hear his views on GGGI's role as an international organization and its programs in developing and emerging countries. President Jagdeo, you have a long history with GGGI. Back in 2011, you accepted an invitation to join the board of the directors of GGGI and also attended the Global Green Growth Summit, GGGS, for 3 consecutive years. Now, as the president of the Assembly, how would you define the vision and mission of the organization?
The Global Green Growth Institute is a young but unique organization. Its primary focus is on an economic model of development that could be achieved through green growth. Now, that's not the only thing that is unique about the Global Green Growth Institute. It started off as a Korean NGO and then moved with amazing speed, got transformed into an international organization. And I think that was largely because of the political efforts of the Korean government. So the rapidity at which it got transformed, it in itself reflects the demand for such an institution. The second thing that is unique about the Green Growth Institute is that embedded, enshrined in its charter, is a role for non-state actors. And so non-state actors have been playing a very significant role at the level, particularly at the level of the Council. Many international organizations do not, particularly organizations that find or have their origin in government-to-government agreements, do not have such a unique role for non-state actors. And the third thing that is unique about the Global Green Growth Institute is that it enshrines a central role for the private sector in the development of green growth strategies and the implementation of green growth strategy. So, in a nutshell, the model that we are pursuing is a model that focuses primarily on developing countries, including emerging economies, and to explore with them through their own efforts and to support those efforts, a pathway that is different than the previous pathway to development. A pathway that could achieve prosperity for those countries, but is not as polluting or as wasteful in resources as the previous model of economic development. A pathway that will help those countries solve issues like poverty and education and healthcare in a different way. And this is absolutely vital at this point in time, because the world is facing catastrophic levels of emission of greenhouse gases from anthropogenic sources. We have many countries faced with water stress. We have a lot of countries where the level of deforestation is adding a lot of greenhouse gases. We have a greater demand for food. Food security is an issue. So how we solve these global challenges in the future will have a big impact on the sustainability of our planet. And the model we are pursuing in these countries, helping them through their own efforts to pursue, will have them resolve these to their satisfaction in a sustainable way and still allow their citizens to grow wealthy, to prosper, but will be good for the world. So in a nutshell, that is what the Global Green Growth Institute is about, supporting the efforts of these countries. We have several offices. The headquarters here is in Korea, but we have offices in London, Copenhagen, Abu Dhabi. We have a liaison office in Sandu. We have many programs, presence in many developing countries, Ethiopia, Indonesia, India, China, etc.
Now, moving on to the next question. GGGI is working on the ground to help governments develop green growth strategies. Now, in your opinion, what is unique about GGGI's programs in developing and emerging economies?
Well, first of all, there are many programs. What is unique about this is that we try to support national efforts. And this is why we have earned ourselves the distinction of being trusted advisors, trusted maybe intermediaries. So GGGI brings a unique set of skills, the global green growth planning and implementation skills, knowledge development skills, the public-private cooperation skills, and focus these on supporting national efforts in many countries as they solve their own problems. So take, for example, Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one of the poorest countries in Africa and in the world, but it also has one of the fastest growing economies. Just recently, they had a $4 billion investment into geothermal energy, signing of an agreement there. We're working in Vietnam to help them develop guidelines to stimulate investments in the renewable energy sector. We're working in Colombia to enhance household incomes for those who live in the forest. That's to prevent deforestation and to catalyze global and international flows of about $150 million to Colombia. We're supporting forest development planning in Peru. We're in Abu Dhabi and UAE, helping them to transition from the current economy into a green economy. So there are lots of real efforts on the ground. We're in China, in Yunnan province, supporting their efforts there to embed green growth planning at the provincial level. We're in India doing the same thing in Karnataka. So we are providing a valuable service to our clients based on what their own orientation, their own plans. We are helping them to transition to a green growth economy.
Now finally, GGGI is currently conducting 34 programs in 20 countries, which is very impressive. How do you personally view GGGI's role in spreading green growth in developing and emerging countries?
As I mentioned before, the unique thing about GGGI is that it has a tailor-made approach for each country. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And it works along with the countries themselves. It builds capacity there. So that is one way through its programs. It is helping countries to make that transition. GGGI, too, I think, has done quite a bit of work globally to demonstrate that in a real sense, in a practical sense, that the green growth pathway is a viable one, that you can pursue sustainable policies without compromising your legitimate aspiration to prosperity. Because there is still a lot of doubts about this, whether green growth can work in many countries. Do we have to give up prosperity if we pursue green growth? And we are demonstrating through practical examples in these countries that this doesn't have to be the case, that the two objectives could be put together and achieved through sound policies. So by doing that at the national level, at a subnational level, we're not just we're not just speaking in a theoretical sense, but we have practical examples that can help to impregnate the global debate about the benefits of the green growth model of development. Thank you.
So, President Jagdeo, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.